Hi, how you doing, everybody? It's me, Robert, from the E-Cigarette Forum. My little trademark here, protecting your e-smoking rights from San Diego, California. And I want to tell everybody about the Joy 510. This is what I started e-smoking with, and I just want to give a little demonstration what a Joy 510 looks like compared to higher voltage models. That's a Joy 510. Gives a pretty good hit. Pretty much stopped me from smoking almost right away. And then using the same atomizer, I take this battery off. And this is one of the first mods I made. It's a dual voltage mod. You can see here it has two buttons for 5 volts and 6 plus volts. In this one, I have a 18500 1600 mAh 3.7 volt battery, and I want to show you the same atomizer just on a 3.7 volt battery that's higher. Right now with this battery, 3.7 volts is on the red button. It's pretty much the same thing as a Joy 510. We'll leave that atomizer on there, and that's 3.7 volts.
Show them the pink one you're making, honey.
Okay, hold on. And next thing I'm going to do, in this same mod with the two different voltages, we're going to show you what it looks like using CR2s, these small 3 volt batteries. Put this sleeve in that I include with my mods, and then we put 2 CR2 batteries in it. Now with the dual voltage, the 2 different buttons, the red buttons are going to be 7.2 volts at the highest peak, because these 3.0 volt batteries actually charge to 3.2 volts, so times 2, that's 7.2. My math might not be right, but it's up over 7 volts, and it goes down to 6. That's 6 plus volts. It's good and strong, but it's a little bit too strong, some might say. So with the dual voltage, honey, could you hand me that little bottle that says high 24? Sure. With the dual voltage model, we're going to use 5 volts. That's what I've come to like most. I'm going to put a couple more drops on here. My little PTB. That is a PTB, pyramid tea bag filter. If you haven't seen the video how to make them, mine just fell out for some reason, but it's no big deal. Sometimes on the higher voltage, I need to cut the carts down. This cart hasn't been cut down because I've only been using it at the sweet 5 volt spot. And what happened just now is it got a little bit too hot at 6 volts, and it actually sucked the filter towards the atomizer. That's why when I took the cart off too quick, the filter flew out. I'm going to refill this with a couple drops, and I'm going to show you it at 5 volts. At 5 volts, it's pretty much the same vapor. But the flavor is better. It's not as warm, not as 6 volts and up can be kind of burnt tasting, but the 5 volts on this button is perfect in my opinion. I'm using inhaler juice. This is a high tobacco 24 on 5 volts, and some of my other mods I made are only 5 volts, like this one and this pink one here. These are both just the 5-volt regulated side, just like that dual voltage, except I use the inline voltage regulator made by Texas Instruments that pulses on and off 32 times a second. And it doesn't allow CR2 batteries to discharge below 2.5 volts. Somewhere around 2.3 volts or 2.0 volts, 0 volts, if they discharge that quick, rapidly, there's a chance of them venting. And with my inline voltage regulator that's in these, it eliminates that chance because, like I say, it'll only allow the batteries in total to go down to 5 volts. Below 5 volts it won't operate at all. And the batteries have to be a little bit higher to take that atomizer just to 5 volts, so they never go below 2.5 each. Like I said before, this is 24 milligram juice that I was using at 3.7 volts. At 3.7 volts, that's with the regular 510 battery. At 3.7 volts, 24 milligram juice will satisfy you vaping it. But when you go to the higher voltages, you don't seem to need as high of a nicotine percentage. And a lot of people say nicotine's not bad for you, but if you're not taking in as much of it, it might even be better to not take in as much. But the main thing is this juice here marked with a little red dot on top. This is high voltage juice from Inhaler, and I think it has much more flavor. So and it also only has 12 milligrams of nicotine. So I use the high voltage juice from Inhaler on my 5-volt mods. I really like the flavor. It has that perfect sweet spot they're always talking about at 5 volts. And another good thing about running at 5 volts is people complain that they burn out atomizers at 6 volts. Well, I don't. I left one in my pocket on. It's got the lockout switch on the bottom. Forgot to push that lockout switch. Put it in my pocket, pushed the button, burned out an atomizer. I haven't burned out an atomizer just using it, but some people run it too dry. At 5 volts, a little bit less chance of that happening, possibly. But that's just my little example of how I perceive different voltages and different milligrams, and I wanted to explain it to everybody. One more thing I wanted to explain, atomizer alignment. I've talked to people about this. I want to show you something. Can you see the shape of the atomizer? Well, it's a little oval. The cart is a little oval shape also. If you put those two together, then the heat is inside the hole. If you put them crossways to each other, then the heat is going across the hole, and you can warp the edges of these carts, especially at higher volts. I always align my cart with the 510, but with the regular 510 battery, I aligned it right from the start, and I saw some other people having problems, and I thought it was because their cart wasn't aligned, to tell you the truth. And at higher voltage, I think it's even more important. I noticed on 6 volts plus, on the tool voltage, that sometimes you had a little mark on the cart, I guess because the heat was too hot. And so I trimmed the carts down and always aligned, and I never saw those. I trimmed about an 1/8 inch off the carts. Okay, that's 10 minutes, so that's enough for YouTube. I hope everybody learned something. Thanks, bye.